You got a very solid setup.
Appreciate it, man.
I gotta say.
It's definitely grown with time.
Yeah.
First 11 episodes, I didn't have mics, and I think the upgrade with the mics was probably the biggest upgrade.
I mean, it makes no sense to invest in into a hobby you're not sure of yet. You know, the more you get into it, the more I think you can put into the setup. It's the same thing with gaming and sports and stuff.
That's why I was a little hesitant at first, because I don't want to start spending a bunch of money on something that I wouldn't end up using much, because I've done that in the past. And I mean, I feel like I've ordered protein powder so many times and I end up wasting all of it just because I end up hating the taste and just would stop taking protein powder.
I mean, protein powder, it's gross. The only good stuff I've had is the Rise flavored stuff and the ISO 100, but that stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
So I've kind of resorted to just buying the big 5-pound tubs and just dealing with it.
Do you get Optimum Nutrition, or what do you get now?
I get the cheaper ISO 100 ones, because the expensive ones that taste good, it's the dimetized edition or whatever, and those are really good.
Yeah, ISO is interesting. I mean, I haven't had phases of protein powder, but I think at least the last couple of weeks I've been fine without it. I'm sure it's definitely a big aid in the process of everything. But have you tried creatine and anything, or?
Yeah, I take creatine.
You do? What are your thoughts of that?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it besides just stuff I see on Instagram Reels. But I always get the line, "It's the most researched supplement ever," and I take it 5 grams a day. I don't know. I've been on it for a while. I haven't noticed. It's not steroids, It's not some crazy difference, but I think it helps with recovery and stuff.
Were you the one telling me the story of how you put on 10 pounds in 6 months with it, or was that someone else? Someone was telling me about their creatine journey. I wasn't sure.
Dang, no, that's crazy. 10 pounds? No.
Okay, because so what was the biggest benefit you? Were you lifting for a while before you started taking creatine, or?
I've always kind of done a lot of exercise. I started lifting because I swam kind of competitively. And then in high school, sophomore year, we started going in the gym, as a swim team. And then I got into it through there. But I started lifting on my own, frequently, my junior year. And that's kind of when I started taking creatine, a few months after.
Gotcha. So what was your lifting looking like with the swim team? What was that focused on?
It was dumb. I didn't like it. It was a lot of more mobility stuff, not as much bodybuilding lifting, which is what I've liked the most. It was a lot of single leg RDLs, balance stuff. We would squat, bench, and trap bar deadlift really
frequently.
No, really infrequently. Every once in a while. And that was the most fun. But I don't know. Other than that, I didn't really like it that much.
Those team workouts are interesting because definitely when I see other people doing them, it looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because it feels like it's programmed or something. But sometimes when you're in it, it just feels really random. They threw a bunch of stuff together. But I'm sure there's some reasoning and thought behind it. I mean, I think it's crazy how there's different kinds of training as well. I find that pretty cool. I mean, now all we're doing is bodybuilding training. But that's interesting, man. Cool.
No, plyometrics are cool. Explosiveness, it's an interesting way to train. And I mean, it works, I guess. All the Olympians and top level athletes do it. So there's got to be something behind it.
Amazing. What is your vision forward with? Are you just going to keep bodybuilding until whenever?
I mean, I don't know if I like to call what I do bodybuilding. It is. It's just it's weird. I don't think of myself as a bodybuilder, but I mean, I guess the way I lift is the way bodybuilders lift. And I like it. I don't see myself, at least for the foreseeable future, switching up. Powerlifting looks cool, but I don't know.
Powerlifting sounds really cool. I mean, I never would call myself a powerlifter too, but I ran a 12-week program once.
Dang.
That did help boost my PRs up. I just bought it online because a lot of people I knew my junior year of high school running it, so I thought might as well try it out, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun for some reason. Just going back every day, squatting, benching, deadlifting, just getting those numbers up. It's definitely fun to get in that rhythm, but I guess it's mentally hard to just stop bodybuilding and start powerlifting when all you can think about is getting big. So.
Yeah, I don't really focus on my numbers exactly. I focus on size and aesthetics. Yeah. How much do numbers go up though?
From that program?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember where I started with. My squat, I couldn't squat 2 plates.
Okay.
I don't know where I was. I was somewhere 185, 195 squat. For the program, I was probably at least 235.
Okay.
So it was a pretty big
That's
jump.
a pretty big jump in
Yeah.
12 weeks, 40 pounds.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And then the following year is 260 from infrequent squatting, focusing on bodybuilding. It just got up to 260. Is 260 not difficult? So I think if I ran a program now, I'd be and like really focusing on it now. I probably can get close to a 315. Close to 315 is my goal because I remember like I was pretty. Well, I didn't run the full 12 weeks. I remember now I had to cut it short, so it was like 10 weeks, and it was like. I kind of messed up the rhythm a little bit of things, but if I were to do it again, I could probably get to 315 close. And bench, probably around the same, like 20, 30 pounds up, but yeah.
And you don't deadlift?
I did, but I don't remember how much. I don't remember my deadlift numbers.
Yeah, I've never really deadlifted.
Yeah. I mean, deadlift's cool. It's just, I think it's just the hardest one to get the form right.
Oh, for sure.
It took me a lot of time, and so much of my camera roll is my deadlifting videos.
I only started squatting recently, like when I came to college, because I used to work out at an LA Fitness back at home, and they had a hack squat that I liked, and I just used that as my like compound leg movement. But the gym closest to my dorm doesn't have a hack squat, so I started barbell squatting again. But I like it. I'm getting into it. It's fun. It's hard.
What do you do, like high volume, like 10, 12 reps? Or what do you do?
I go up in weight after I hit more than 12 for my first set. So like when I hit legs in like 2 or 3 days, I'm going to go up by like 10 or 20 pounds.
Gotcha.
It'd be cool to rep like 205 for like a bunch.
Squatting within 3 to 5 reps is such a fun exercise.
Really? I've never done it.
Squatting over 8 reps is like the most miserable thing I've ever done in the gym.
Oh, it's hard. It's grueling.
Yeah.
I take like 5 minutes in between sets. Like my central nervous system's just cooked.
Yeah, and I've been doing legs for so long. I've always loved legs. Like I wouldn't say it's like my favorite, but it's like I wouldn't mind it. It's obviously difficult. I enjoy hitting legs. It's probably my stronger muscle, but
really
recently the last couple of weeks, like my joints have just been hurting so bad every time I do I do leg press or squat, like it's hurting a little bit. And usually what I started doing is I don't start with my compound movement, and that's been helping me a little bit.
I've seen a lot of that's how Sam Sulek works out.
Does he actually?
Yeah, he'll start off with like leg extensions and then leg curls and then start squatting or leg pressing.
Wow, I didn't know that. I've watched some of Sam. I like Sam Sulek.
I watch a lot of his videos when I like eat.
Yeah.
It's like a good lunch meal.
Yeah.
Video. But how does that like affect you? Are you weaker on the squat if you don't do it first or the
That's
leg
a good
press?
question. I wouldn't say so. I haven't noticed that.
Really?
I feel like I'm about able to, because I think if I was training strength wise, it would make sense. But pretty much I'm just doing high volume anyways, and maybe it's a little bit of impairment, but it hasn't been too significant. It's also I'm always switching up what compound movement I'm doing, so it's hard to really track like how much I would have been. Like it's not as like I'm squatting every time, so I can very clearly see the difference. But for example, this morning I hit. I started with calf raises today because I want to get done with. And
that's fire.
I did leg curls, which is my number one favorite exercise in the gym.
Lying or seated?
Lying.
Okay.
My favorite exercise in the gym. I did lying leg curls, and then I did heel elevated squats, and I was still able to do like pretty good amount for high volume.
Okay.
Close to failure, hopefully. But what I like about Sam Sulek is how he trains to failure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
It's also easier to like know when to stop because it's like, oh, aim for 12 reps, but what does 12 reps mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything unless that's failure, you know?
You can just bang out like 12 shitty reps and just call it your 12 rep. But I think that way, like, not going to failure but shitty form. Going to failure with good form and then sacrificing the form or then doing partials or then dropping the set. I think that way you're actually getting the most out of it in a way. But
the only thing it's like going to failure on like squats is like low-key scary. Like
That's
I always try to stop 1 rep shy of failure. If it's like I got that one but the next one's looking really iffy, like I'll rack it. I have the safety bars like set up so in case I do fail, like it's no big deal, but like still it's like intimidating.
Because I feel like I always feel so scared thinking about going to squatting to failure for some reason. I don't know what it is about it, but whenever I do fail, it's like an easy fail. Like it doesn't feel like anything then. But I guess beforehand, you're just thinking about the fact that you have to pick the weight back up. Or I don't know, it's like a mental thing of having that much weight on your back that could crush you. Or you might think that you might look whack to other people if you drop the weight. But when you fail in squat, like, it doesn't feel like a big deal at all. So it's weird, but I can understand. It's very mentally hard to like.
I mean, yeah, I'll push it to failure next time. I think it's just like a mental blockade because I've never done it. You know, going to absolute failure on squats.
I mean, I don't do it often, so I mean, I'm just but a couple times I felt that, but it's kind of hard to do that on Smith though, right? Failing.
I don't Smith machine squat.
Okay, yeah, because when I do my heel elevator, I do Smith.
I've seen a lot of videos, people getting hurt Smith machine squatting.
Really? How's that?
Yeah, because like you can't bail. It's like harder to bail.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to bail. Because, I mean, I guess you have a higher propensity of getting crushed in a way.
Yeah.
And getting something hurt. But have you had any injuries in the gym?
I gave myself... No, that was swimming. I had tendonitis in my right shoulder, but that was swimming.
Ooh. Was it just prolonged use?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I went to a doctor that my dad knew, and I don't know, I just did like some banded exercises every day before I swam, and it got me right. From lifting, I got a headache, like a really, really bad headache one time. I was leg pressing, and I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 reps in. I got such a splitting headache, and I took my headphones out, and I couldn't keep like exerting myself. Like, I don't know, it was low-key scary. I thought I'd give myself a brain aneurysm. It hurt for like 2 days after.
Wow.
I couldn't like push myself. I don't know what I did, but then it kind of went away and I kept lifting.
Can you think back to like what specific set you were doing at the time? Like, do you remember?
It wasn't my first exercise because I hack squatted before, and I don't know. I was gonna leg press after, and I warmed up, and then I went into my first working set. I think I had like 3.5 plates on each side.
Yeah, so you warmed up already?
Yeah, I was warm. And then I just got such a splitting headache.
Was it here?
No, this was like a year ago. It was at an LA Fitness.
LA Fitness.
I think I left after that.
Okay.
I got like scared and then I left.
Did it happen mid-set or when you reacted?
Mid-set.
Okay, how many reps did you already put out?
I think like 5 or 6.
And you just stopped?
Yeah, I stopped and I took my headphones out and I put my head in my hands.
Well, can you describe the pain?
It felt like my head was like splitting in half. It was a really like splitting sharp pain
in my brain. Though? Like inside of it?
In my brain, yeah.
Okay.
It was terrifying.
Wow. That's incredible, man. That's insane. So, okay, you said this immediate like sharp pain, you just had to close your eyes for a second. Did the pain like go down and then become like a constant thing in the background, or was it like or it comes back in cycles and then it's just excruciating again? Or
it lasted for a while and then it like subsided into like this like throbbing pain that would flare up when I would like exert myself again. So I left and I moved on to I think leg extensions, and then I would get a few reps in, and when it started getting difficult, like the pain would like switch from that throbbing pain in the background to like that sharper pain.
How many times a day did that happen for those 2 days? Like, was it like every hour or something? Like,
it was whenever I like exerted myself. So I'd be like fine if I was just like relaxing at home, but
gotcha.
If I like worked out and I like started pushing a set, like,
I mean, like how much exerting? Are we talking like you're full on like squatting really heavy, or like what kind of exertion?
It's like you're taking a set to failure. Say it's like 12 reps, and then the first like 6 aren't bad, and then like it starts getting heavier and heavier. So like, and you have to push harder to get it back up. Like, then it started hurting. So I took like 2 days off, and then I went back to the gym and it was fine.
And then it just went away, and no words were spoken after that to anyone about this?
No.
Wow, man. I felt something similar-ish, but not as extreme, on my flight back to Michigan 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I was wearing my contacts on a flight, and I fell asleep wearing my contacts, which I don't think you're supposed to do. Because of potential for like eye infection or something. But
okay.
I don't know if it's related to this, but I thought it might be a factor. But when I woke up, I was wearing my headphones, and I think it also maybe contributes to the fact that we're almost about to land.
Oh, so were you wearing like over-the-ear headphones?
Over-the-ear headphones.
Because it does weird stuff with the pressure like equalization where you have headphones. That's happened to me where my ears feel super weird. If I like get on a flight with headphones and it takes off with headphones on, my ears feel really weird.
The whole time?
Yeah, and I have to like take my headphones off and like pop my ears like a lot.
Can you tell me more about that? Like what is this like, equalization thing? Like what's happening?
Well, you know how like, because it's like difference in I really have no idea, but it's like difference in pressure, like because there's a little bit of there's air like your ear and then your eardrum, like the pressure on the inside of your ear is probably less than the pressure outside of your ear. So then like it like air wants to equalize pressure, so there's air pushing in on your eardrums. So then you have to like cover your nose and like blow, and then like you hear a little pop, and then it
Is that how you deal with it?
Yeah, it's like the same thing if you ever like not even gone scuba diving, but like dove into really deep water, and then you feel like your ears are like being pushed in. That's what that is.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, airplane ear, it hit me the worst this last flight because I think it's a low altitude flight, and I don't know. Like usually I wear like earbud headphones.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between earbud headphones and over the ear headphones?
I don't know. That's a good
I
question.
kind of want to search it up. I gotta know this, man.
That's interesting.
I'll forget to search it up later. This is really interesting, man. Because last weekend, man, 2 weeks ago, airplane ear was there with me for 3 days after. It was terrible.
Did you rupture your eardrum?
No, because I went away then. It was fine.
Okay.
I don't know.
Swimming, I've had like a shit ton of ear infections.
Whoa.
Like I get a lot of swimmer's ear. I mean, I used to when I swam.
And earbuds or airplane pressure. Let's see. I'm gonna get Gemini here. Yes. When it comes to airplane pressure, over-the-ear headphones generally offer a better experience than earbuds. Okay, that's not what I saw this time. Because they create a more comprehensive seal around your ears, which can help to partially block out cabin noise and potentially alleviate discomfort from pressure changes during takeoff and landing. While earbuds may not provide as much noise isolation, it could even exacerbate pressure discomfort in some cases. Okay. Well, I mean, that's just one it happened. Could be 100 reasons why it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah. Tell me more about some of those ear infections. Like, those are... I mean, wrestling is also a sport. You get a lot of infections. So
yeah.
I had ringworm once. You know ringworm?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, I had it on my forehead.
Dang.
So I had to deal with that, and I had molluscum.
What's that?
They're like these spots. It all happens on my forehead. It was like spots all over my forehead. Yeah, it wasn't like that as bad as you might be thinking.
Okay.
Because I was still able to like, go and live and stuff, and it wasn't like as noticeable until you looked like, oh yeah, something's there. So it's not like I just look all of a sudden like a freak. Maybe a little bit. But yeah, I had those spots on my forehead. I had to scrape off. But the thing is, I got that this summer, and I hadn't wrestled since like last winter.
Oh, that's weird.
It could be something that I got and then it didn't like show until later, but I don't know. Those are the two I've had. But tell me about the ear infections.
Okay, so the way that it's been explained to me by like various ENTs that I've been to, it's like, so water gets in your ear, and since it's like your ear canal is a very like dark, like damp place, like bacteria can grow there like super easily. So then water from the pool gets in there and it has nowhere to go and it doesn't dry. So then bacteria grows and then your ear just kind of swells shut. And then the way to combat that, it's like you take antibiotics, but what like they've done to me is they soak this little like foam cylinder in antibiotics, and then it's just shoved in your ear, and it like forces the ear canal open, and then you leave that in there for like a few days, and then they take it out, and then you have to like cycle antibiotics. It usually happens in my right ear because they're like different shapes, and my right ear's more like curved, so water gets trapped more easily. I've had it like 5 times in my right ear and like once or twice in my left ear.
Gotcha. So that's something that pretty much everyone you've known who swims has.
Yeah, and there's ways to like prevent it. You can mix rubbing alcohol and white vinegar, and then after you like swim, you like use a dropper and like drop some into your ear and like leave it in there for like a few seconds, and then you shake it out. And then what the vinegar does, it raises like the acidity in your ear, so it kills bacteria, and then alcohol, like the rubbing alcohol, just dries out your ear, so there's no water in there.
Interesting. Is any of the process painful, whether the medication or just getting the infection, or just visibly very weird? Or
it's not visibly weird.
Or like, okay.
Like you can't really tell.
You said it closes up, so that's all internal.
Yeah, it's internal. It hurts. It's like a hot, throbbing pain, just constantly.
Burning it all, like kind of.
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
It's kind of unpleasant. I think the worst time I've ever got it was my senior year. I had to miss like a few meets.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I was already on my way out of the sport.
They tell you can't go just because you don't want to spread it, or?
I don't think it transmits like that.
So then why'd you miss those meets? Because it's paining so bad, or?
No, because like I had a piece of foam with antibiotics in my ear, and then like.
So that's 24/7.
Yeah, and then getting it, like just jumping in the water with that's like not very productive towards. And they were like just random. They were just random dual meets. So like I didn't really miss much.
Gotcha.
Like it's not that deep.
Interesting, man. Yeah. So how big was competitive swimming like in your life in middle school? Like was that like or high school? Is that your main thing? Like
It was my main thing.
Yeah.
Cause I was swimming my whole life, and then in high school I was still doing it. The only other thing I got into was I started playing water polo my freshman year because some of my buddies were on the team, and it's a big pipeline. It's like a lot of swimmers like just randomly start playing it and then they like it more. It's a big thing that happens.
You thought about doing club stuff here for water polo?
I talked to one of the guys on the team, the club team, but practices are from 9 to 11 p.m.
So
on
rough.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
It's so rough.
And it's not that bad of a time commitment, but it's like, I don't know. Seems like, I don't know. And also, like, I did it because I really, like, my best friends were all on the team. So it wasn't so much for the love of the sport, but it was, like, a social opportunity, too, to hang out with my friends.
Do you ever think about swimming in college or anything? Or were you pretty set on, like...
No, I loved swimming up until right after states my sophomore year, which is weird because that was my peak.
In Florida, right?
Yeah, Florida. So I went, my 2 varsity events were 2 free, 5 free, like the 200 and the 500 yard freestyle. And then I didn't make states in the 2 free, but I did in the 5 free. And then I swam great, personal best, whatever. And then we got back from states, and then I just never really had that same passion and drive. And then
Interesting.
I like just thugged it out for 2 years because I liked the team, I liked the coaches, I liked the environment. It was just like a me thing with the sport. And then right after the varsity season, my senior year, I just quit.
After the senior or...
Yeah, after the varsity season. So like it ended in like November.
Okay. Gotcha. And you were normally swimming off season, so that's...
Yeah, I would, because you never really stop swimming. Because it's like varsity season, it's like 2 months, and then there's club like the rest of the year.
And you compete with the club.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting, man. So, I mean, I want to understand the timeline a little bit because it seemed that swimming was something you enjoyed doing for some period of time in high school. But after that one meet in states, things started to go downhill in terms of your passion for it. And like, where does this kind of fit in the storyline? Like, is it something you knew was coming in the background, or like what all of a sudden happened there?
So I guess the complete timeline is like my life in relation to swimming is when I was like 4 or 5, my mom put me in swim lessons, and then whatever, I liked swim lessons, and then keep doing lessons for a few years. Then it's like, oh, do you want to join like the elementary school swim team at like the lowest level? And I was like, sure. And then it keeps progressing. And then in middle school, like it becomes more serious and you start swimming before school, like in the mornings and then in the afternoons. And then in high school, like again, it just ramps up more. And then, I don't know, I loved it. And then I was getting better and better and I was working really hard. And then sophomore year, I was like in the best swimming shape of my life. And then I swam the fastest I've ever swam in the 5 free.
Sophomore year?
Yeah. And then...
At the time fastest or like now all time?
No, all time. I like fell off super hard because there was no passion in it. And
like, when you say no passion, like, was that always the case?
No.
So then when was the passion die, sophomore year?
The passion died sophomore year.
Okay.
Which is weird. I really, I don't know what happened. I just stopped liking it. Like, stopped liking the act of going to practice and, like, swimming.
Interesting, man.
Which sucks.
Would you say that people have hobbies and they have, like, deep passions in life? There's something that people enjoy doing and there's something that people absolutely love doing. So, up till sophomore year, was swimming, like, hell yeah, like, I absolutely love this? Or was it just, like a hobby that I enjoy doing?
No, it was a passion.
Like, you loved it more than anything.
I loved it, yeah.
You look forward to it every day.
Yeah, and I wanted to do it in college, and I was like, I feel like I was on a path to where I could have been, like, a semi-decent, like, a semi-okay college swimmer. I could have gone somewhere if I kept... I mean, that's an egotistical thing to say.
No, that's good. I like good self-image.
But I think if I kept working as hard as I was and, like, kept, like, improving at the rate that I was, I would have been able to do something with that.
It's insane, man. I'm just trying to understand this because I've never heard, like...
It makes no sense. I don't know what happened.
Have you ever, like, thought about it or kind of just like, okay, like, this is how it is, like...
I mean, I don't know. I wanted the passion to come back. That's
And
why I
you tried
didn't.
to get it
Yeah, that's why I didn't quit immediately. But I don't know. I think it was a combination of like I started lifting a little bit, like I was saying, and then I was playing water polo like a lot, and then I don't know. I think I just started doing other things, and I don't know. The last 2 years of swimming were rough because like I was getting slower, like I was regressing, and that kind of sucked, to like experience, I think it just became a vicious cycle.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask about, because what do you think came first, the lack of passion or the lowering numbers?
The lack of passion.
That came, and then that followed.
Which is weird, because I was like I was saying, I peaked, and then I started not liking the sport, and then I got slower.
Wow, man, that's amazing. It's weird in a way.
It's weird. I mean, like, It sucks, but I guess it's not the end of the world.
Does it bother you at all, or you're okay with it? Like, not when you look back.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, it's just what it is.
Other things, right?
Yeah, I'm like, passionate about. Yeah, I think lifting has just replaced what swimming was for me.
How would you describe what aspects of swimming did you love the most? Like, let's say, close your eyes. Let's go back sophomore year, freshman year. What about swimming is like hell yeah? What do you love about it?
I mean, I like dropping time. Like, that's always fun. It's like the same thing as PRing on bench, or like getting a few more reps in than you could last time. It's that, but drawn out. It's like way slower than that.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to equate like adding 5 pounds to your bench, it's like dropping like a second or two in like your 500 freestyle. So it's like you train for like months and months, and then like on a rare occasion you'll start tapering, you'll shave, and then you'll put on a tech suit and see if you can go faster.
So when you're lifting and you're benching, I feel like often, at least the way it's played out for me, you can tell me if it's played out differently for you, but it's not like your PRs go up in a linear progression. It's like one day it'll explode, and then it'll like flat out. Up, like randomly. So is increasing or like dropping your times follow a similar pattern? Like, do you think, okay, 1 month of training equals I average about like this much of time dropped, or is it like all of a sudden like 1 month my time just like dropped out of nowhere, and like 1 month I'm just like plateaued for like 2 months? Like, how does it? Is it more linear progression with your progress in swimming, or?
It's hard to tell, because you're not putting yourself in the ideal scenario to PR every month, because you would only really like lock in for championship meets, because like you would go to like these regular little dual meets or whatever, and you wouldn't be tapered, you wouldn't be shaved, and you wouldn't be in a tech suit. So it'd be like, okay, like it's like doing it at practice, but in preparation for like a championship meet, like 1 or 2 weeks before, you would like the practices would become like they'd be easier, and they would focus on recovery and more like stretch out swimming to like make sure in 2 weeks you're feeling as good and recovered as possible.
Got you. Interesting. With swimming, how does a dual meet work? So are there, let's say, an X number of different, it's probably the same as track, right? So there's different events. There's different events, and 2 teams come together, and they just send out, I don't know, 1 or 2 people per event or something like that, or how does it work?
It depends on the size of the pool. Most pools are like 8 lanes. So you would have, and there's usually like 2 heats per event, and then each event is like separated by gender, obviously. So then you would like race those 2 heats, and then there's like a point system where it's like first is, I don't actually know the point system, whatever, and then like it would decrease by placement, and at the end of the day you would just like add up the points, and whoever has the most wins.
Tell me about the states meet your sophomore year. Just tell me about the day, like how it went. What was some of the emotions that were going through your head that day? Like, tell me the story of sophomore year states.
Okay. Let me think back. I remember I low-key slept like shit that night. So I woke up and I was nervous because we had to wake up mad early for prelims.
Like 5, 4.
And it was around like it wasn't that early. It was like 6, let's say, right? And then you wake up. Eat breakfast. I like hate eating before I swam. Like I remember I would always like feel sick. Yeah, okay. Like my stomach would hurt. So I ate I didn't eat a lot, which is like normal for me.
Do you remember what do you typically eat before?
I don't remember. And then we all got on the bus, drove over, and then like warmed up, and then it was prelims. And I was only doing the 5 free, so like obviously like I'd watch like my other teammates and my friends on other teams, like I'd see their events, like, and then I remember I was pretty nervous, but like it wasn't anything crazy. And then prelims I swam, and that's my best time ever. I went 4:50, and then like it was hype, and then I warmed down, and then it's like, oh shit, like I made the B final, and there's like 2 finals because it's like states. It's the top 24 for every event. So going in, I don't remember what I was seeded, but it was towards the bottom, so I didn't think I was gonna make any final. But then I was seeded 14th going into the B finals. So like B finals is like numbers 9 through 16 because A is 1 through 8, right? So then I was second to last.
So it's a different A bracket and a B bracket.
Yeah, because like the top 8 fastest times, like they race again in the A final, or I guess the B final goes first. So the B final is numbers 9 through 16, and they race, and then right after, numbers 1 through 8 race.
Does a winner of B final go to A final or no?
No, there's no.
Separate.
Yeah, there's no movement. So like for example,
winner of B final winner done.
Yeah, which you could see as being dumb because say the person who got first in the B final went faster than the person who got first in the A final, who wins the event?
Yeah,
it's the person in the A final.
And swimming is a very like, it's all about you. There's no like one player can affect another player at all.
No.
Like that's one of the interesting things about.
I mean,
swimming and track.
I mean, there's ways. I like it can happen on accident. This happened to one of my buddies when we were really young. We were at a meet, and I can't remember what race he was doing. He was swimming, and he turned and flipped and pushed off and ended up in the wrong lane.
Oh, how does that happen? You went under?
Like he went under the lane line. Like there's no barrier.
Like, by accident. Like you didn't even realize.
It was on accident, and then he I think they both got disqualified because he messed up the other kid's race.
That's fucked. Imagine, bro.
That's tough. We were 12 though, so it's not like it's a state final. It's
it's early on. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
I mean, the older you get, that really doesn't happen. But when you're little, shit happens in the pool all the time.
I think the interesting thing about sports like swimming, track, and wrestling is that you're not really doing much for most of the day because you're kind of waiting for your event.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and at least I have my experience with wrestling. I mean, dual meets are different because you're pretty.
They're a lot faster.
Yeah, they're faster, and also you're kind of locked in. You're at least in wrestling, you're looking at the teammate before you who's wrestling, and you're kind of getting ready for your match immediately.
Yeah, you're hyping everyone else up.
Yeah,
it's more fun. It's more of a communal experience.
Yeah, but tournaments on the other hand is there's 20 schools there, and everyone's at different events. You don't even see half your friends half the day, and I just know that on those days the emotions are definitely harder to deal with, and I think at least I've seen a greater degree of nervousness on those events. Maybe because it's chaotic as well. So would you describe similar feelings to that day, or?
I mean, I was nervous, but I don't think it was in a chaotic way. It was more like locking in. You know? You ever do club wrestling?
I did, but never competed with my club. I just did practices with a club nearby.
Because that's club swim meets take forever. Because there's more events. There's triple the number of the events in club than varsity. So you're there for a lot longer, and it's and your team usually isn't as it's bigger, so there's more people, and you're usually not as close with
the club team.
The club is your varsity team. Mine was the same though. I was
social level. You mean?
No. It was the same team. It was because I swam. My varsity team was my high school, and then my high school there was also a club team there, coached by the same coaches, and the same people were on it. So in that aspect, too. Yeah. So it was the high school coaches.
It was their club, and then more people add on.
Yeah, so it was the same thing. So it was cool. But the club meets take a lot longer.
I can imagine.
So you're there for a while.
Has nervousness ever been you said that on that day? Nervousness it was there, but wasn't a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Has it always been that way? Is just nervousness something you're good with dealing with, or has there been certain moments in other meets where you felt it's been worse?
I've always been pretty good at keeping my nerves and anxiety in check in general, especially for swimming too. But there was probably the most nervous I've ever been was I was 13. No, I was younger. I was either 11 or 12, and it was my first time swimming the 1650, which is the longest event. It's it's a mile, 1650 yards, and I was nervous just because it's a physically daunting task. It's shit. I got to be in the water for 66 laps. It's a 20-minute thing. So I've never been nervous to a negative extent because of the competition level. It's just that one time because of the physical aspect of it.
Just just big things coming up and I have to just get ready for it. Yeah. Interesting. Do you still swim for fun every now and then, or you just haven't stepped in the pool since then?
That's funny. It's like I stopped swimming in November
last year, right?
And I played polo, so I was in the water every day for like a few months after. But then I stopped. It was recently for one of my engineering classes. We had to like run some benchmark testing on a pair of goggles.
I heard about this. Tell me about it.
It was fun. So like the whole point of the class, it's engineering 100, but it's a biomedical engineering section. I don't think that's what I'm going to study. But I picked it just because it looked fun.
So engineering 100 has like specialized sections?
Yeah, there's like 100 sections. Whoa. And they're all kind of on random things.
Okay.
So like you don't have to, it's a requirement, so you don't have to pick one that's in relation to what you want to do, like study. So I picked this one because it sounded interesting and it worked with my schedule well. So it was like, it's called like wearable technology. And the whole point is like you're assigned a product, like a consumer.
Is that the one that Angela's in?
Yeah. He's in my group.
In that group, in that class that I know, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know who you know.
Well, who you talk to in that class?
My group, it's me, Angelo, Matt, Divine, you know him?
Sounds familiar.
Will Curley. You know, Nathan something, I forget his last name.
Does he live here?
No, he lives in South.
Okay, no, I know. I don't have these people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
40,000 people at the school.
Yeah.
You can't imagine.
You can't name them all.
Yeah.
So like the whole point is like you're assigned like a piece of wearable technology that's like health oriented, like an Apple Watch or like a Fitbit, or in our case it's like these goggles.
That too? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like these goggles that have like a little screen in them, and they like record like a bunch of metrics, like how fast you're going and like your stroke rate, and they like display it to you right in the goggle. It's like kind of cool. So we had to do some benchmark testing. So we went to the pool on North at the NCRB, and it was my first time like in a pool, like actually like swimming laps in like forever. And it was cool. It made me like really nostalgic for swimming.
Wow.
I was like, damn, I miss this. It's like, I don't know. I have a lot of good memories doing the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like I'm always going to have like a
tie to it.
Yeah.
In some way. It's amazing. That goggle thing sounds pretty cool. Is it like, the way you describe it seems like it's super high tech. Is it anything like that, or is it just like...
So like imagine like a regular pair of goggles, but right here there's like a little rectangle that houses...
let's say I'm wearing them right now. I can see like a rectangle here.
No, you can't, because it's right here.
It's on the goggle.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the goggle, then I can see the thing.
So if you're looking at the goggle on your left eye, I mean, you could switch it, but it's like on your left eye, there's like a screen that you can see through with like LEDs, and it like is like, and there's like a stopwatch on there.
Wait, can I pull up a picture of these? Like, is it on Google?
Yeah. They're called the Form Smart Swim 1. We have the 1. There's a second version out, but they gave us the 1.
Form Smart Swim?
Yeah.
Goggles?
Yeah. They're cool.
These ones, right?
Yeah, those.
Okay, so they're like normal goggles. So
yeah, and the little like box thing is where all the
the
sensors are stored. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if I could have had like a video of someone using these.
No, they're cool. We had to do like, listen up.
It's another Trump commercial.
I get a lot of Kamala Harris ads.
Yeah, this is a Kamala Harris ads.
I
think because we're in Michigan and also Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor's pretty liberal.
Is it?
As they say, Michigan goes blue, so.
That's funny. I thought we were in a swing state.
Michigan is a swing state. Yeah. Ann Arbor is very liberal.
Okay.
I was okay. This is what. Wait, so you can.
That's what you're looking at. That's what.
So when I'm swimming, I could see that.
Yeah,
that's sick.
It's cool. It's like low key mad distracting though. We were like testing, and I almost ran into a wall.
Oh really?
And there's like a lot of open water swimming applications.
So remind me again, like what metrics is it tracking? So let's see. So it has.
It gives you your splits.
What is this 143? This is the swim too. This is the swim too, by the way.
Oh, that's the swim too?
Yeah.
That's probably your heart rate.
Oh, yeah, heart rate.
233 is how long you've been swimming, and then under the line, that's how fast you're going every 100 yards. It's your split.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
No, it is. So we had to like go test like a bunch of stuff, and we noticed that they fall off a lot.
Okay.
Which kind of sucks, like the whole point of a goggle is to keep water out of your ears, and they fall off.
So they fall off your eye, but they're still like on.
Yeah, and they leak a lot. And then another thing we noticed was like the timer's off. Like it gives you inaccurate splits.
So when you timed and then you...
Yeah, so we had two people outside of the water and then someone swimming. They would do a 50. And then the two people would they would use a stopwatch. And then you would compare that to what the goggle told you to what the stopwatch told you. And like obviously there's human error. But I don't know, to kind of counteract that, we averaged them out. Maybe statistically it's not like the best way to do it. Yeah. But we noticed there was a pretty big difference, especially in a 50. Like for swimming, like the margins are small. Like if you have a half-second difference, like that's insane. Like that's a crazy difference.
Yeah, definitely when you're like competing and everything.
Yeah.
But must play a big role. So what's the goal of your project? Are you just trying to like better engineer these goggles or something? Or?
Yeah. So like the point of the class is you present, like at the end of the semester, you present like a report with like your findings, and you have to say how you would improve on the goggles. You don't actually do it, which sucks. I thought that was the point. I thought like we were
That'd
actually
be a pretty long project.
I thought we were gonna like open up the goggles and like fix like the actual tech in there, but it's all theoretical.
Is that what everyone in the class is doing? They're all doing the goggles, or everyone?
No, everyone has a different product.
What are some of the other products?
There's just a Fitbit.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty hard to re-engineer.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a Fitbit. There's a thing that you like clip onto your clothes, and it shows like how much UV you're being exposed to.
Wow.
So it's like, oh, like go put sunscreen on. Like you've been exposed to X amount of UVB rays, which are the bad ones apparently.
Yeah, but sunscreen also got so many chemicals, man. Everything else something bad in them these days.
Seed oils.
Seed oils. Did we talk about seed oils? I feel like we did.
I don't know anything about seed oils. I like get a lot of propaganda on my Instagram reels about how seed oils are bad.
Pretty bad for you.
I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, I mean, this modern day and age is like everything's bad for you.
I mean, it's like we're all full of microplastics, anyways. We're all cooked. That is true,
dude. I think I said this on the podcast already, but so the thing with microplastics is that if there's food wrapped in plastic, it's obviously not a good thing.
Yeah,
it's even worse. Like not to put plastic in the microwave.
Yeah,
we know that because it melts.
Yeah,
plastic melts and it goes into your food. In the dining hall, the trays that they put in are wrapped in plastic, and they're in the heat.
Yeah.
Meaning the plastic is melting into our food.
Yeah.
And all the amazing blackened chicken we be eating has this microplastics in them.
Yeah.
And they do the same thing at Chipotle.
And I guarantee you they're all cooked in seed oils.
Well, that's another problem.
I guarantee you. Like,
yeah,
it's impossible. You could maybe avoid it if you're buying your own food, like from like Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, or like you're getting it sourced from like the Amish, bro.
Yeah, I think the best move is to get a farm or to live near a farm.
Yeah, but like
a farmer,
like that's crazy. But I mean, like you can do that.
That's my move. 10 years from now, you're gonna come back for another podcast episode on my farm, on my ranch.
I'm so game.
Yeah,
like that's fire.
That's pretty far away. The vision for the future, but you think about your future at all?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. There's certain things that I want to be there in my future.
What do you want in your future?
I want my kids to speak Spanish. That's one thing that's important to me. Because, like, my parents immigrated from Colombia, like, 30 years ago. And, like, I was born and raised here, but, like, I'm a dual citizen, and I go, like, frequently to visit family and stuff. But I never had, like, any formal education in Spanish. So I speak it, like, pretty good. Like, I'm fluent. But I don't think my Spanish is to, like, a level where, I could teach it to my kids or, like, write a book in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
So, like, because my mom writes a lot. She writes a lot of short stories, and she writes them in Spanish primarily. So, like, I'll read them, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't have the vocabulary to, like, recreate it. Like, I can understand it.
Like, comfortably? Yeah, like reading an English book?
Not comfortably. It's like I read a lot slower. And
in general? Or?
No, I read pretty quick, I think. Oh. But you switch it to Spanish, like, my reading pace, like, cuts in half.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So, I don't think... So, like, for my kids to be able to speak Spanish, they're either going to have to grow up in a Spanish-speaking country, or I'm going to have to marry a Latina. I mean, no complaints.
Yeah.
No complaints.
I think it's really interesting. So are the motivations behind that mainly that it's a cool cultural thing you want to keep alive?
Yeah, I love like the other half of my culture. I think it's dope. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. And
I also think speaking Spanish is a good skill to have. Like, I haven't really been able to explore that professionally, right? Yet. But there's been like a lot of instances in like the airport or like in public where people are like, there's a language barrier, and I can alleviate that.
And you go in and help them out?
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. Yeah.
It's also, I worked at my mom's office. She's an eye doctor. Like, my job was straight nepotism. I was like an intern. I was a patient coordinator, and it's in Fort Lauderdale, so a lot of patients come from Miami. So they don't, and in Miami, it's like, you don't need to speak English.
There's a lot of migration.
Yeah, so like...
where's the main migration from? Is it Cuba?
Cuba.
Okay.
There's like, in Hialeah, it's like this little like kind of outskirts of Miami. Like, there's a lot of Cubans there.
And is that still going on, like pretty high amounts of immigration?
Yeah, I mean, if you're immigrating from South America, like, you're landing in Miami.
Yes.
And like, high chance you'll stay there. Mm. So there's a lot of people, like a lot of patients come, they drive from Miami to my mom's office, and like, they don't speak any English because they were born and raised in a South American country, and they live in Miami, so they don't need to speak English, so they don't, like, they can't. So, like, I had to translate a lot when I worked there, which was cool. Like, I like it.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's cool how everyone's speaking English now wherever you go, because it's easy to communicate with anyone around the world and understand anyone around the world. But
everywhere I've been, people speak English.
Almost anywhere. There have been times where people have not spoken English, but if you go to any country, like, you find at least a decent proportion of English speakers, and it's become in a way where, for the first time, it's like the world is one big tribe.
I mean, almost anyone can say, I don't know how to speak English.
They can say that sentence.
And they can say it in English, and then the rest will be in whatever language they can speak. You know, but everyone knows that. Like, I don't know how to say, I can't speak Russian in Russian, you know?
No, I cannot. Most people can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it is a little sad that there are consequences of that. I mean, it's great, but cultures will die.
Yeah, I mean, my Chinese teacher told me that that's happening a lot in China. Because, like, there's a bunch of dialects, like, depending on where you are in China. But the government's trying to, like, have schools and standardize all learning in Mandarin. So, like, this happened to my Chinese teacher. She said she would go to school and learn in Mandarin, and her parents she would speak to her parents, and I forget what the dialect was called, and she understood it, but she couldn't speak it.
How many languages are there in China? Do you know?
Like, a lot. I really don't know.
I know about the situation in India, but I'm not really read about China, so. Languages. China total. All right.
Yeah, but all the dialects are dying out.
More than 300.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I'm wondering in India how much it is. Yeah. Over 19,500 dialects and 121 languages.
Yeah,
what is the
crazy.
difference between dialect and a language?
I think dialects are just offshoots of the main language, but like...
so it's like one language and there's like multiple dialects, right? With the
you know how
different
like
styles.
You know how like all different Spanish-speaking countries have different accents and different slangs? Like, that's kind of dialect.
Gotcha. So it says here, main difference is that a dialect is a variation of a language, while a language is a system of words that can be spoken. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. So tell me what you're talking about the China story.
So, like, all these dialects are, like, slowly dying out, and that kind of ties into what you were saying about how, like, all the world knowing how to kind of speak English means that, like, yeah, like, globalization's cool, like, the world's becoming a smaller place, but, like, those small little communities of, like, culture kind of dying out.
Yeah.
Which sucks. It's, like...
I can kind of relate to it on a personal level because my dad grew up in Assam, which is east India. Okay. Really close to the China border, and the language they speak there is Assamese, which is one of the states. So just to give you an idea of like let's see, how many states are there in India? How many states are there in India? I mean, I was pretty shocked when I go there to see like how many different languages are spoken there because I remember as an experience was that there's 28 states in India. Assamese is the language of one of the states, and then within that, I remember we drove through a town where there was a whole other language they were speaking there. And like none of them could speak that language either, and then we just drove out of the town. And then 5 minutes, like there's languages that are living in those small towns, and the thing is like the proportion of Assamese speakers around the world is decreasing. And then if you look at like just my example, I could speak Hindi, which is the overall language of India, just like Mandarin is like the overall language of China. But I don't speak Assamese. I don't write Assamese, and maybe if I never end up learning, then with this generation, with my lineage,
you're not teaching it to your kids.
My sister can't even speak Hindi, so.
I think I know a lot of like I have Hispanic friends, or I know Hispanic people, like kids whose parents speak Spanish but they didn't teach it, which I think sucks. I think,
You said they could speak it without their parents?
No, like their parents didn't teach them. Oh, so they don't know how to speak Spanish. So like that ends with them, and I don't know. I want to hold on to like that aspect of my culture for as long as I can, like through my lineage.
Yeah, and although we have the books and everything, the unfortunate reality is that if no one starts speaking the language and no one's speaking it, it will die.
Yeah, for sure.
And it'll be forgotten, and it'll blend away with time. And I don't know, man. I mean, is that such a bad thing? I don't know, but I think one of the most remarkable things about humanity is just
the diversity.
It's incredible.
I don't think, maybe in terms of like unity as like a species, like it's not a bad thing if we're all kind of approaching speaking the same language, because then communication barriers they'll go down and there'd just be less disagreements.
There'd be less conflict.
There'd be less disagreements on accident.
Yes.
Like translational, but then it's like you become less diverse and everyone becomes more similar.
Yeah, and then we can all believe in one story.
Yeah.
I think I was reading a book called *Sapiens* by Yuval Noah Harari, and
okay,
it was one of the most fascinating books I've ever read, because it goes from the beginning. The whole book's idea is to break down the history of humankind, but not just in an objective way, but more in like we're like looking at all areas of humanity, but kind of analyzing the human nature behind it and like the art behind it, and it's incredible. But I mean, we've been around for a long time, like 200,000 years.
Yeah.
And one of the most remarkable things is that in the same way, we know about evolution. You're probably taking biology, like how evolution works and functions. One thing that's uniquely evolved in humans, in our brain and the way we act, is the power of stories. Humans are so susceptible to easily believing a story.
Yeah.
And when everyone buys into a story, it becomes like a universal truth that we just assume is true. Like, money is just a story.
Yeah, money's not real.
That we just tell ourselves.
Money's
like,
not real.
Paper. Weren't you talking with Holmes today about like they introduced money to like a bunch of monkeys?
Oh, yeah.
He was telling me, I was walking back and I ran into him. He said, "You're doing a podcast with Mario today."
Yeah, I don't know. We were talking about like animal like psychology and like how animals are smart. And then I remember I saw this thing about how these researchers introduced like a form of money into like a colony of I don't know what type of monkeys, but it was basically like, oh, like you can use these little silver coins to either buy like a banana or like some treat or whatever, and they were different prices. And then that like started an economy, and they would change the price.
Wait, can you repeat again, like the money currency thing?
It's like these little silver coins. They gave a bunch to the monkeys.
But how would they identify that is money?
They trained them. They trained the monkeys to be able to be like, oh, like if I'm the monkey, right? I give one silver coin to the researcher, and then the researcher then gives me a banana.
Ooh.
So then there's a price, right? But then you can fluctuate the price, because if I'm the monkey again and I give you one silver coin and you don't give me the banana, it's like, shit, did the price go up? And I give you another one, and then you give me the banana, and then I'm like, okay.
And they're able to learn that.
Yeah, so then the monkeys, they learned how to budget, and then another thing that happened was they started gambling.
Okay, tell me about
and prostitution happened.
Okay, tell me.
So it'd be like, the female monkeys were like, okay, like, if I want money to buy bananas and I don't have money, how do I make the male monkeys give me money and charge for sex? And then, I don't know, I didn't really do my research on this. It was, I saw it in an Instagram reel.
Okay, yeah.
I get a lot of my knowledge from Instagram reels.
Great source of information.
A lot of fun facts, but I can't really elaborate any on them.
Society, introduce money, study. This is the funniest Google search anyone's ever going to see. Monkey Society, introduce money study. I found something on ABC. What monkeys can teach us about money. The experiments, monkeys made some financial decisions which are remarkably similar to those made by humans. Yeah, I mean, I would love to read this, but I don't think I have the time right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, some things are so baked in human nature, like that's like the logical brain concluding that, okay, I need X to get X, I must do Y.
Yeah.
Yeah. The gambling one is a little bit more interesting though, how they were able to do that. But
I don't know. Again, I saw this in an Instagram reel, which sucks. Like, I wish I had looked into it further.
Yeah.
But there's that.
Yeah. Anyways, back to what I was saying before about stories.
We got sidetracked.
Yeah, that happens a lot on the podcast. Don't worry. Money's technically a story. Religions are stories, and I'm not going to get into the religious debate right now. It could be. Let's not get into that. Anyways, okay. Most things are stories that we believe in. The United States is a story, because the United States, in theory, does not exist.
What do you mean?
What is the United States?
It's a country.
Okay, it's like, do we define it by their borders?
Sure.
So the United States is just like the geographical location.
I mean, it's
not
like
really.
It's the combination of like the borders and like the people in the government. Like, sure, yeah.
So what do we mean by the government? Like the building?
No, like
or the idea of the government.
Like what the government, like the laws that the government passes,
Okay,
kind
what
of
are
define
laws?
the country.
Like, our laws, like.
Oh, I see
no
what
ideas.
I see what you're getting at. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
like, technically, the Constitution's a piece of paper, but like.
With a bunch of scribbles on it, but what's paper? You know.
Paper's real. But technically, like the idea that the United States of America, like the deer doesn't know what that is. The deer will walk across the border and not realize it.
Sure.
The deer will not understand that there's like this whole network of, I don't know, millions of humans interacting together who all believe in the same story, that this is a thing that exists.
Okay.
And we use things in the real world to justify its existence, such as borderlines and government buildings, and nothing actually exists besides the thing that's in our brain. We just all agree that it exists. We just all said that, okay, we're all going to sit down and agree that this is a thing that exists. And we're all going to buy into it so that we can all function together and exist.
I mean, that's just society.
Well, society is a story.
Yeah.
Every
Okay. Fair
country's
enough.
a story.
Yeah.
The United States, the University of Michigan is a story. Because,
But there's
okay,
physical buildings on it,
the
right?
buildings are on
that
it.
say the University of Michigan.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, buildings are buildings. But the idea that, okay, I'm going to wake up at this time every day and go to this class over there. And they're going to give me a diploma if I do these certain actions every day.
And then that diploma means something, apparently.
And through this University of Michigan, I can access a network of people. And I can like travel on this bus over there that exists there because of the University of Michigan. That will take me to somewhere over there where there's more classroom buildings. Sure, there are physical aspects of the University of Michigan that we think of. Like, I think of the buildings, the first thing that comes to mind. But
Right.
the idea of the University of Michigan is something we all agree exists. And we give them our money, which doesn't really exist.
Okay.
Because we're all buying into a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the main
I would
point, but
agree.
I want to first establish that as like the framework before.
Yeah,
The next thing
yeah.
I was thinking
Okay.
about the other day for an essay I was writing. But technically, everything humans use to function in society comes from a story. And without a story, we would all fall apart.
Yeah.
If we weren't... See, what I was reading is that animals cannot think about something that doesn't exist in the real world. They can see an apple there. They could see something there, but they can't like visualize something that doesn't actually exist the way humans are able to, because of how maybe how advanced their brain is, or maybe how evolution has served us in a way. We're able to think of things that don't actually exist, and all tell us a story about it so we can all believe it's true. And that's what helps us to come together, because there's no animal out there which is as social as humans, and being social and having a tribe ensures our survival. Because 100,000 years ago, no tribe, you die because you're not beating the bear or the lion, but everyone together can come together and survive in a way that we can beat those animals and we can rise in the social hierarchy. And we think about animal extinction, that's so recent right now because we're become a global society. It's been happening for the last 100,000 years.
Yeah, like
nobody really knows that.
like species go extinct.
Like no, but from humans.
Oh yeah, okay.
Humans have been causing extinctions for 100,000 years.
Really?
Before we even had civilization.
What did we make go extinct 100,000 years ago?
I'll give you one example. Australia.
Okay.
There's fossil record evidence that shows that when humans first showed up, I believe 42,000 years ago, there was a huge extinction that happened.
Of what?
All of the megafauna that used to live there. Apparently, it used to be incredible species in Australia. Let me pull up the actual thing so I don't misspeak, but I think it's the Australian megafauna extinction.
Oh, fauna like plants?
No, like animals. 40,000.
Oh, flora is plants.
Okay, 41,000 years
tweaking.
ago. So, yeah, it's 42,000. So the megafauna of Australia included giant animals like wombat-like creatures, birds and lizards, which went extinct around 42,000 years ago randomly. The cause of their extinction is a topic of debate, but there's a growing consensus that multiple factors were at play, including climate change and human impact of the environment. So, okay, we can't say...
Well, I mean, yeah, climate change is obviously a factor. That's why the dinosaurs running.
Yeah,
I mean...
Definitely. And we don't know what it is, but the fact that there's a potential that human impact caused it, and there's enough growing evidence that something we can consider. I think the reason they said humans, like humans may have contributed to the extinction of megafauna through hunting and other activities. Basically, like they were good hunters even before they had a civilization. Like they would cause these mass extinctions, and the reason they were able to do so well is because they were so good at collaborating. But yeah. Anyways, the point I was getting to.
The point.
Is that we're really good at believing in stories, but everything that's happened in the world around us, that it's like almost hard for us to explain. Like Nazi Germany. It's like we look back to that, it's like how could that even happen? It's like insane. Isn't it insane when you think about it?
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it happened.
it's sometimes I think about it. It's like
this dude convinced a nation to elect him as their leader, and then convinced them that this certain group of people was the reason they lost World War One. Like, that's insane.
How did he do it?
I don't know.
A story.
That's some crazy gaslighting.
It's a story that at the right place at the right time, everyone believed. There was gaslighting.
Well, yeah.
Basically, like the story that they believe was they genuinely believed that they were a higher race, the Aryan race. Because although people might disagree, there's a large majority of people who think that it's perfectly fine to do certain things to animals, right? That it's okay to. I don't know if everyone agrees with that. There's some things that I wouldn't necessarily agree with, such as like the way they're treated on farms and everything. But some people think it's totally fine to like, keep a cow in a 2x2 cubicle and just like farm them.
Yeah, because it's not.
Like,
it's not a
have
human.
like one female cow is impregnated every day, give birth, take their child away from them, and just kill them.
Yeah.
And then that's the steak we'd be eating downstairs, which is a little bit like hard for us.
To yeah.
But like we don't like feel like we don't like sit here and we don't have a revolution going on because there is most of people think, okay, well at the end of the day they're animals. And there's like a different level here. It's a story we believe. In the same way, everyone in Nazi Germany believed the story that they were genuinely a lower race.
Well, not okay. From what I know about, it's only like the top like SS officers really knew that the Holocaust was happening.
Okay.
It was kept kind of low key that like, oh, like we're kicking the Jewish people out and we're sending them over here, but no one really knew exactly what they were doing to the Jewish people over there. You know, I also think I also think people like the German people that elected him were like taken advantage of in a way because they were like their economy was screwed because they lost the war and they had reparations, and they just wanted to win, and like, you know, like psychopaths are like a lot of the time very charismatic, you know, so they can manipulate people very easily and they can like lie and like spin tales to convince people of things that aren't exactly true. So I think it's a combination of a lot of factors that like allowed Hitler to rise to power.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's correct because the point that you bring up that most of the public wasn't aware of it, that's an interesting point, and I don't know enough about it to say whether that's true or not. But I definitely think that could definitely be true. But I definitely agree with you in the point where I'm saying that Hitler is like telling a story. Like, he's like making shit up and convincing and taking advantage of them, and at a critical time period as well, where like the economy's falling apart and people want a charismatic leader.
People need something. They need something to believe in.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it's happened like even in our country, like recently. You know, it's like charismatic leaders, like who don't exactly like maybe have a background in politics, can like get an audience for themselves and have people believe in them because they're so charismatic, and they can tell people what they want to hear. Like, not getting political, I think that's just like psychology.
Yeah. I would say that even if majority of the population did not genuinely believe they were a lower race and they were just kind of taken advantage of and were kind of unaware of what's happening, there's still a decent amount of people that were on Hitler's side. Such as some of the officers.
Yeah.
A lot of the officers could have been taken advantage of as well, and maybe they're put in a position where they don't have a choice, where if they rebel against them, they get thrown in the camps as well.
Yeah.
But I think the ability to have such a powerful force all come together and do something like that. Like, okay, most of the public wasn't aware of it. Like, how was Hitler pulling all the strings, or were like Hitler have people that were helping him pull the strings?
I mean, you ever see the movie The Boy in the Striped Pajamas?
I've heard of it, but no.
So like, you know the plot?
No.
It's like, so this kid, he's like a really young kid, and his dad is a like high-ranking Nazi official, and he lives like kind of in a rural place, and then the kid like goes exploring one day, and he stumbles upon like a concentration camp, and then there's
like a realistic fiction or like
I don't know, but I think the whole point was like the mom didn't know what like the kid ends up dying because he sneaks into the concentration camp to hang out with his friend, and then like he goes, and then they all get like put in the gas chamber, and then the kid dies. So it's like, what?
That's the whole movie?
I mean, like there's more stuff, but like the kid becomes friends with like this boy that's in the concentration camp. So it's like, I don't know. And then at the end of the day, there was like this scene where the mom finds out what they'd been doing in the concentration camp, and she didn't know, and she was a Hitler supporter.
Wow.
You know? So like there's that.
I think misinformation has been a big thing for a long time. And it's scary because I think we definitely think we're in a time now where information is widely available more, especially in the U.S. more than other places. Like in some other countries around the world, it's sad how much it's still controlled to such a degree.
The media?
Yeah. But still, with that being said, how much do we not know?
About what?
Like right now, about what's happening.
Like in our government?
In anywhere in the world. Like some of the conflicts that are happening, none of us have been there. We're relying on the media. And
well, you think they're lying? Do you think they're just like they're all coexisting peacefully, and then the media is saying that everyone's dying?
Not. I think my point is that we don't really know how bad it is. Is it worse than that? It could be worse than that. Maybe there's parts of the story we don't know. It could be not as bad and exaggerated. We don't actually know.
That's fair.
I'm not taking a side. I think it could be either. But
I mean, yeah, I have no idea. I've never seen it.
Yeah. The real thing is that I think the reason I bring that up is because stories like that where her mom was a Hitler supporter and had no idea.
Yeah, what was going on in the camps?
Like, it's easy to look back at that and say they were stuck in the bubble, and luckily we're not in the bubble anymore. But how do we not know we're in a bubble right now?
I mean, yeah, it's hard to be aware of everything that's happening accurately.
It's wild, man. But even if we ignore like the civil population at the time, it's impossible to do something to such a great extent, like to create those concentration camps. So people that build the camps, so have officers that help you.
Yeah.
Like,
some people have to be aware of the whole truth.
Definitely a decent amount.
Yeah.
Like at least to build a network of people that are in charge of
it. Yeah. I'm not saying that like. Yeah.
So those people have to be convinced of the story, and it was still a story that powered it all. Without the story, it would be nothing.
And that was the point of the book?
Well, that was one of the points.
It sounds like a good book.
It's a really good book.
Might have to read it.
But at the same way how stories have caused some of the most atrocious things in history, they've also caused like some of the most incredible things in history. Like, I think when we look at successful people, like Olympic athletes and Navy SEALs, and a lot of them, sure, it could just be that, okay, they worked hard and they did well. But a lot of them are driven by a story. A story that they might hear and believe and sits in their brain from when they're young and lives in their brain until they achieve the success. Anyway, I can give an example.
Okay.
Sometimes it can be in a positive way or a negative way, where a negative way could be an insecurity that lives in your brain and becomes a story.
Right.
Like someone said something to you when you're really young that traumatized you in a way.
Like, oh, you're overweight, and then you become like a bodybuilder or whatever.
Yeah. This is kind of a story you keep telling yourself.
Yeah.
I am this way after that. And I think if we look at some of the people who have made the most incredible achievements, like nothing can drive you to go insane and like work super hard without like something like a story to do that. And if I look at some of like the periods of my life in the past that I was able to do some pretty either cool shit or like terrible shit, it was all inspired by a story I just really believed at the time was true. And
like what?
Like what?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like what story motivated you to do things?
So on episode 56 of the podcast, I went into one of the stories I had about my junior year of high school.
Okay.
Where I guess there were mistakes I made along the way through my fall term, which came from me deciding that there were certain things I want to prioritize in my life socially. That I was more motivated by the idea of like I want to be friends with everyone. And that's like a goal I made in my life. Like I don't know at the time I guess that also comes from a story, but I'm going to go into a different story. Maybe we can come back to that story after. But I guess I that was something really important to me, and I just kept like working on that, like trying to become as friends with everyone. Like I was really obsessed with that at the time. But at the same time, I think I was doing it for the wrong intentions because I guess I was chasing popularity in a way, in a way that it made me like negatively impact relationships I already had. And
I feel that.
After a certain event, I realized that because of that, a lot of people did not like me because of that. And it's probably true at the time, but the extent to which I believed it was true, we don't really know how much of that is accurate compared to reality. But it was a story I genuinely believed for the entirety of the rest of my junior year, that most people don't actually like me. And that is a story somehow propelled me to like become extremely disciplined, which is a really weird turnaround. But it's like that story, like I think back now to how I was able to get up at 5, 7 days a week for like 3 months.
And do what? Like work out?
So I'd get up at 5. I'd like take a cold shower first thing in the morning. I hadn't missed like a single day. I would like do schoolwork in the morning before classes started. I would never not. I don't think a single day my fall term my senior year I did schoolwork after 8 a.m.
That's impressive. That's solid.
Yeah, and a decent grades. So
no, that's impressive.
I look back at it now and I do some of it now, but it's not like I'm able to do it to the same extent I was back then. I sometimes think like, how was I able to do that? And a lot of the stuff I did back then. I realize now that it was just a story I really, really believed.
Which was that no one truly liked you?
It was that, but also the fact that if I do this, they will like me. That was the story.
And you don't think that's true anymore?
Maybe not to the same extent, because maybe that... I think what ended up did happening was that I gained a lot of self-respect for myself, which made me care less about what other people thought about me. And then which led me to end up building better relationships with other people. And then the trauma kind of went away because I realized I can actually make friends now.
Yeah.
And then I came here and I've met a lot of cool people, and I don't feel like I feel those same negative emotions anymore. And then I guess the drive is gone then, because the incentive for it was the fact that I didn't have that many friends or people that like me. And I convinced myself that doing this will help me get that. And now that I got that, it's almost like the incentive behind it is gone. And it's not to say that I don't do some of the things that I believe are important. Like, I'm not going as extreme as I was back then, but I still like to get up early. I still like to do the same things I did. And I'm glad I did those things. But the real point is that when I look back at times that I can't explain, it all came from a story. A story I just really believed.
That's wild. I mean, I think it's true that if you, like, dedicate yourself and you're passionate about certain things and you work towards them, you'll become a better version of yourself, and, like, you'll find similar people that you are, like, truly meant to be friends with, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think you became, like, you were able to make friends because you, like, made yourself a better person. I think it's just you started focusing and putting your energy towards the right things, and then friends came with that.
That's definitely it, because I guess I've thought about it a lot, because I had friends before I did all those things too. So it doesn't really make sense that you need those things to have the friends in the first place.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. But it was something I believed at the time. But I think you're right, because I think when your intentions are right, things do fall in place.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, man.
I mean, it's like you get luckier, like, when you're working towards a goal, like, you feel like you get luckier. You know?
Luckier.
Like, you know how when this happens to me a lot, I get in, like, cycles of negativity where it's like I feel like I can't catch a break, just kind of in general. But once you start kind of undoing that and you start moving in the right directions, like, things start falling into place, and then the more you do that, it feels easier. So it's like, oh, I did good on this test, like, I got lucky. It's like, no, like, it's because you've actually been, like, focusing, you know?
So you tell yourself sometimes when good things happen that you attribute to luck?
Yeah, but then you have to realize that it wasn't luck, it was your own doing.
That's interesting, because I guess I've never thought about it that way. But so tell me about the cycles of negativity. What do you mean by that?
I think it's like vicious cycles, you know? It's like, I think it's what I did to myself with swimming, where it's like, oh, like, I don't really like this. And then you, like, subconsciously start working less hard. You start slacking, and it's like, oh, like, shit, like, it's unlucky, like, I got slower. It's like, shit. And then, like, it just repeats. But then the opposite is kind of what I've been doing in the gym, where it's like, oh, like, I've been going to the gym every day, and then it's, oh, like, shit, I got an extra rep in on my incline bench. That's cool. You know, like I got lucky today. But, like, you have to think and, like, take into, like, your conscious mind that it's like, it's not luck. It's just repeated action, like, betters your results.
I think I talked about that concept on a podcast. I think number 37.
Dang.
I don't know. I remember them pretty well. And my friend called that the law of attraction.
Yeah.
That's what. That?
Yeah, that's what that is.
That's what it is.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like one thing that I do that's kind of dumb is, like, I'll, like, learn a piece of interesting information, and then I'll, like, forget key parts of it and just know half of a fact.
I guess it's not that bad, because you don't always need to know everything.
It's because I spend too much time on Instagram Reels. Like, I'll just, like, that's why I knew the story of the monkeys, but I can't elaborate on it. Just because I hear, like, these funny stories on Instagram, and I guess it's just, like, and they stick, and then it's, like, half of a conversation starter.
I think the negative cycle thing is pretty interesting that I'd like to dig deep in, because I guess the way it works, it's kind of just like a negative feedback loop.
Yeah.
Where one thing leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next, and before you're just going. Like, my time went down by 5 seconds which causes you to. It's a positive feedback loop, actually.
And then that's like, okay, like I'm goated, like I'm gonna keep grinding, and then like it just keeps going and going.
Yeah, and then it can work in a great way. Good way, where it's serving you, but then when it starts not serving you, then it's like,
but you can derail really fast.
Yeah, and it happens quickly before you know it.
Yeah.
I got slower.
Shit. I'm washed.
I'm washed. I'm doing bad. I'm never gonna be bad. I'm never gonna get back up. And then it's like, oh well, I never really enjoyed swimming in the first place, so I'm not gonna try as much. And then my time went higher again. And it's I never really enjoyed it in the first place. And but my time went higher again because of that mindset. And then it's like, ooh.
I mean, yeah, I think that's probably what happened to me.
You think so?
I mean, I've never really thought about it like that, but that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, those things are scary, but it's how habits work too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the positive feedback loop thing with like smoking or just any habit really. But even
what do you mean with smoking?
Well, I think it's a different like system, but I think you like let's say you smoke.
Okay.
And I'm talking about like smoking as an addiction, like people.
Okay.
Not as like smoking once in a while, but like people who get addicted to smoking.
Sure.
Like they'll smoke a cigarette, they'll get the positive dopamine from it, then they'll go down, and then they'll want the positive dopamine again, and then it's just that cycle is a different thing that people who get addicted on that route. But I mean, any addiction really, there's all different types out there, like sweet eating, like whatever people are addicted to.
I mean, everyone's like dopamine, especially our generation. Our dopamine receptors are all fried because there's so much like easy access to just like quick hits of dopamine. It's like, oh shit, like open up TikTok and see a funny video, boom, and then you just want that again and again. But like, there's not like that benefit of like, what is it? It's like delayed gratification. Like it's hard to find that.
Yeah. Have you been trying to implement that more of that, like, or?
I mean, there's a lot of delayed gratification in like lifting weights and like studying and stuff. You know, you like see slow changes, and then like those changes aren't drastic, and like no one else can really tell, but like they mean a lot to you.
Yeah, and I guess you see like over time, like you've probably seen so much improvement in yourself.
Yeah.
It's like satisfying in that way. Yeah, it's definitely a problem, I guess. I think the biggest thing is just awareness of it. Like when you know that it's bad for you, you'll make the right decisions to slowly maneuver away from it. But
I mean, will you though? Like everyone knows smoking's bad for you. There's still a ton of people addicted.
So the question,
like eating sweets is bad for you. Like you're still gonna do it.
I think sometimes you're so deep in the addiction that you need some other intervention to get out of it. That's weird. How if someone's addicted to smoking, how do you get out of it?
I don't know. I've never been addicted to anything.
Anything?
Not like a substance.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever had any addictions.
That's
you?
Good, yeah. Oh really? I mean, I've had one addiction in the past that it's kind of embarrassing to talk about, but I think everyone's had that addiction.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's move on from that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, man. Excited for fall break?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do. Are you going home?
I'm going home.
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't think about it because my parents were like, oh, you have like these 4 days off or these 2 days off in October. And I was like, yeah, but those are like study days, I think. Like, I'm just going to stay and study. I think that's what everyone else is going to do.
They call it study days.
Yeah, I mean, study break, but like, I don't know. Maybe I made the wrong call.
I was thinking the same way. I thought, it's just a 2-day break.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that big in your head. And then, like, a couple weeks ago, my parents were like, yo, there's this thing coming up. Like, you should come home. And then around the same time, I heard people were going home. Like, okay, I'll just go home then. I guess good timing.
Yeah.
So I bought the tickets. But now it's like, you really feel like everyone's just, like, leaving. Like, it's the end of the year or something. Like, everyone got their suitcases out.
I mean, it's not necessarily, like, going home. I could have, like, my roommate, he went to Wisconsin.
Ooh.
He went to Wisco to go see a buddy.
Nice.
You know, like, I could have done that. One of my best friends goes to Chicago.
Oh.
You know, I could have gone to Chicago and, like, hung out with him.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, but I don't know.
What are your plans for Thanksgiving?
I'm going home.
Confirmed?
Yeah, I have my tickets and everything. My grandma's spending Thanksgiving with us, and my cousin who goes to USC is coming.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we're all flying. We're gonna meet there.
Nice to be back for the holiday.
Yeah, I'm excited. I miss the beach.
The beach.
I miss the beach a lot because I lived like.
The weather's gonna be nice.
The weather's gonna be nice. I miss my friends from home.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're all
yeah.
gonna be back too, right?
Huh? Yeah, everyone's gonna be back. I hope. I don't know. Last year, I remember 2 of my friends that go to MIT, they didn't come back because they only had like 2 days off. But I think everyone else is going to be back.
Amazing, man. Well, we're about an hour and a half in. It's a pleasure. Pleasure
great.
speaking to you. I'm starving. I want to go to the dinner.
Bet, yeah.
Hopefully they got some. Did you see the dinner for the day? Do you know what they got?
I didn't know. I think I'm going to go work out.
Oh, you gonna work out?
Yeah.
Amazing. What do you got today?
Chest
day.
Good day.
Hell yeah. When was the last time you did barbell bench? Do you do that often or no?
No, last time I did it was like July.
Yeah. What was your max at the time? Do you know?
I've never maxed.
Okay.
My best set ever was 165 for 11.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That's okay.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, especially if you don't do it much.
I know. There's a lot of technique behind benching that I don't have down super solidly, you know?
Yeah. It's an interesting movement. I think it's definitely, the learning curve is like easier a little bit on that one.
Yeah?
Pick up, especially like deadlifting or something or squatting.
I don't know. Squatting comes pretty naturally to me, I think.
You squat pretty good?
Yeah, like I think I have good form.
I think some people struggle with just depth early on.
No, I think my depth's pretty solid.
My original squatting form was terrible.
Yeah.
Depth was bad, and just like random things were bad. And
Yeah.
it was just bad. But a lot of squatting over the years, that was pretty good. So, happy with it. Yeah, I love Palmer, by the way.
It's a nice gym. It's okay. I'm coming around to it. I went to the NCRB.
Yeah, you told me about the goggle thing. Yeah.
That gym's pretty nice too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I haven't been to the IM yet though.
I've been in the IM. I like it.
How does it compare?
You know, like everyone's always, every time I bring the IM with the Palmer, they're always like talking about this gym's better, that gym's better. Like, they're both good gyms. I like both.
That's a nice way to look at it.
Nice. Palmer, I would say number 1 just because of the convenience.
Yeah, no, the IM's far. It's like a 20-minute walk.
Luckily, I was able to take the 62 right on time as soon as I got there, so it took me like 5 minutes to get there, and then
that's sick.
5 minutes on the way back. Oh, 10 minutes. I had to wait 5 minutes for the bus, but yeah, I mean, IM's great. I'll probably go there once in a while, every now and then if I'm in the area. And
I don't know. I'm probably just gonna stick to Palmer because it's 2 minutes.
Yeah,
it's like
nice.
it's just
Palmer.
a nice little walk,
Yeah.
and it works.
But you go there every single day, except for rest days.
I haven't taken a rest day in forever.
When was the last time you took a rest day? Do you remember?
I don't remember, and I don't have my phone on me. I could check. I could scroll back to see the last day I missed.
So they just end up happening. I think I'm lifting for the first 2 weeks here without rest day.
I think I've gone 2 weeks without a rest day, maybe a little bit less.
And then I took a rest day. It's like I hate taking rest days.
I don't know. The first 3 weeks I was here, I didn't work out.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, I was off.
Yeah.
It was whack.
Yeah, I mean, it's the beginning of the year. I mean, you're probably like going out.
I don't know. I just felt like I was so busy. You know, I was like, it took me a while to adjust.
Yeah, what were you doing that first week? You go out a lot or no?
No, I mean I did. Like I went out a couple of times, but nothing crazy. Like I know some people got here and like started partying hard. Like
first week.
Yeah, no, I went out a couple of times. Like it was fun.
Yeah.
But I definitely still had time to go to the gym. I don't know. I felt a little overwhelmed.
Also, yeah, you're just in a whole new environment. It's just like random things just happen out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You just fall out of your routine. You're like, holy fuck, how'd that happen?
Yeah, and I was rushing Theta Tau.
Did you decide not to go through?
It's a professional frat. It's a professional engineering
right
frat.
now?
No, I got cut.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna run it back next semester though.
Yeah, we got this.
Everyone's chill and they're like, yeah, no, like getting in your first semester freshman year is kind of tough.
Why is that?
Because it's competitive. A lot of people. It's not as competitive as the business frat. Yeah,
okay.
It's not as competitive as the business frats, but like, it's like I think there were like a little more than 80 kids like at the beginning, and like 12 get accepted.
That's rough, man.
Yeah, but no, I mean all the brothers are nice. Everyone I've talked to is nice. They all support my idea of rushing again, so I'm gonna try again.
Great. Well, let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
Let's call it a day, man.
Bet. This was sick.
Talked a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
Like gym and swimming and Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
How do we start talking about that? Do you remember?
You were talking about stories, and then it was like.
How do we start talking about stories?
You were talking about that book about
Why did I bring up the book?
Sapiens? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Why did I bring it up though? I'm trying to remember.
Was it we were talking about languages?
Yes, that was a good conversation. I like that part.
Yeah, and then you brought up the book and then stories. And
I don't think I actually got to the point with languages. I was telling you, I got so deep in a rabbit hole. But yeah, I mean, we're losing stories. We're losing languages.
Yeah, that's tough.
More for the next time. Thank you, Mario.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you for tuning in to my episode. If you enjoyed that episode, I guarantee that you'll love this episode right here. The best way to support the channel is by hitting the subscribe button. It'll help me to upgrade the channel, get better guests, better production, and overall, more episodes for you. And by hitting the subscribe button, you'll ensure that you'll never miss a new release. While you're at it, hit the like button, leave a comment, and share the link with your best friend. Thank you once again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.